everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sydney Cummins, and I will be summarizing the original story of Rapunzel as found in Grimm's fairy tales. Once there was a man and his wife who was pregnant. Their house was next to an enchantress's house, and from the window they could see her beautiful garden. The wife began to crave one of the rampions called Rapunzel. She craved it so much she thought she would die without it, so her husband snuck into the garden and stole it from the enchantress. Once the wife tasted it, she only craved more. So when her husband snuck into the garden again, the enchantress was there waiting for him. She was angry as he explained how he was only retrieving it for his wife, who was expecting a baby. So the enchantress agreed to let him have the rampion, as long as she could keep the child that his wife would bear. The man agreed, and as soon as the wife had the baby, the enchantress appeared and took the baby, and she named her Rapunzel. When Rapunzel turned 12, the enchantress locked her in a tower, where the only way in and out was a small window at the top. But Rapunzel's hair was so long that the enchantress could use it to climb in and see her. One day, a prince was riding in the forest and heard Rapunzel's beautiful singing. When he found the tower with no way in, he returned every day, desperate to find a way in and see her. After seeing how the enchantress called to Rapunzel, "Rapunzel, let down your hair," he returned the next day and called out to Rapunzel the same way he heard the enchantress. When Rapunzel let down her hair, he climbed and entered the tower. At first, Rapunzel was afraid, but the prince quickly explained that he could not rest until he had met her and how long he'd waited to see her. When he asked her to marry him, she said yes, but she told him she had no way to leave the tower. So every day when the prince came by, he left a piece of silk so she could make a rope. One day when the enchantress came to visit, Rapunzel mistakenly told her of the prince. And in outrage, the enchantress cut off Rapunzel's hair and sent her to a desert where the prince could never find her. Then she waited for the prince and used Rapunzel's hair to lure him into the tower, where she told him he would never see Rapunzel again. Then she pushed the prince out the window. He fell into a bed of thorns and was blinded. The prince wandered for many years until he found a desert, the same desert where Rapunzel had been living for years and where she was raising their twins, a boy and a girl. When he heard her singing, he recognized the voice he'd heard from the tower years ago, and he called out to her. When she saw him, she wrapped him in an embrace and began crying. Her tears healed his eyes, and he was able to see again. The family returned to the prince's kingdom, and they all lived happily ever after. Thank you.